Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta, and we are now celebrating 10 years on YouTube, which is a hell of a lot of time, let me tell you. 10 years ago, it was January 4th, 2011, and I was 22 years old, and I was trying my best to graduate from college. So, if you guys were around since then, thank you for sticking with me for so long, because you guys kept me very much sane back then, and motivated. And if you guys are joining me anytime in between, thank you, and here's hoping to another 10. I have a couple of videos lined up for you guys over the next couple of days, 10 of them in fact, to celebrate 10 years, and each of these videos is a story I'd like to think of helped make me who I am. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best story, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the scariest story. It means that there's something significant that happened with this story, and I'd like to share those things with you before I re-record them. Some I've never seen in many, many years, such as this one tonight. Curious Little Thing is the first story I ever recorded on this channel. And if you go back, way, way, way back, you can still hear it. I recorded it on a karaoke microphone with no background music and no knowledge about cleaning or denoising or equalizing audio or anything like that. So, hopefully, I have improved over the 10 years. And this is a story that is still very, very near and dear to me. This is Curious Little Thing by Chris Straub. I have an odd habit. A friend recently picked up on a habit I developed about a year ago. He noticed that when I enter a room, any room, and shut the door, I turn my face away from it and I close my eyes until I hear the lock click. Only after the door is fully closed will I open them. He gave me a hard time about it until I told him where it started. I work for a water seal company in St. Paul. We produce sealant for exposed wood, decks, boats, that kind of thing. You hear about sealant being a dirty word in the Ashland, Icker Falls, Ironton area. Not all those companies were part of the infamous Ethelor Summer. They wiped out the local economy in the 50s. I got sent to an industrial park outside of Icker Falls on business. I checked into the dismal hotel, the Hotel Umbra, that looked like the decor hadn't been changed since the 1930s. The lobby wallpaper had gone yellow from decades of cigarette smoke, and everything had a fine layer of dust, including the old man behind the front desk. I hoped that the room would be in better shape. See, mine was on the 4th floor. Being an old place, the hostel had a rickety cable car, the kind with a double set of doors, one of those flexing metal gates, and a solid outer pair of doors. I shut the gate and unlatched it, and I pressed the tiny black button for my floor. Just as the outer elevator doors were about to close, I was startled by the face of a young woman rushing at the gap between them. She was too late. The door shut, and after a moment, the elevator ascended. I thought nothing of it until I needed to take the elevator back down for one of my bags. See, I entered, I pushed the button for the lobby, and I pressed my tired back to the elevator wall opposite the doors. They were nearly completely shut again when I was surprised by a woman's face moving towards the gap, staring into the elevator through the gate. Too late to place her hand in to stop the doors from closing. This time I sprang forward and I held the door open button. I waited for a moment. From the opening I could see partly down the hallway. No one in sight. Still, holding the button down, I slid open the metal gate and craned my head into the hallway to look down the other direction. No one. I waited a moment. No trace of the girl, no recently shut hotel room door, no footsteps, no jingle of keys. I released the button, but did not lean back against the wall. I stood directly in front of where the gap in the doors would be, in the center of the elevator. After a pause, the outer doors again began to slide shut, to move towards each other until the space between them was the width of a young girl's face. And in that quarter second, several fingertips appeared, followed immediately by her face again, rushing from around the corner, staring at me as the doors met. I've been watching the gap where I thought she might be, so I saw her. She was about 13 years old and very pale, almost homely, with a pale complexion and neck-length dark brown hair. Looked used or slightly dirty. I didn't have time to glance down at her visible shoulder to see what she was wearing. I mean, from her behavior, I wondered if she was a runaway or a homeless person who had gotten into the building. She had a glassy, blank expression, tinged with a little desperation. Some distant desire or need. A look that could easily be accompanied by the words, "Please help." The next time I passed the front desk, I asked the old man if he had seen a young girl running through. "I heard the stories then," he said between throat clearing, rocking gently in his seat. "Young Maddie, she's been here for a long time. Takes a liking to gentlemen guests. Always has been shy, never says a word. Not a word. Just curious." I told him I hadn't heard any stories. There'd been a girl taking the stairs and standing in front of my elevator on every floor. "That's our Maddie," he says. "She likes you then. Sweet on you. She just wants to see you, that's all. Just to see. That's all she ever does. Curious little thing. Just wants to see." I stayed at the Hotel Umbra for 3 nights. It was a 4-night business trip. The last night I tried sleeping in my car. Didn't help. Let me tell you about young Maddie. You only catch glimpses of her, of a face with a resigned look of quiet desperation, dominated by a pair of wide, dark eyes. Locked doors, barricades, nothing made a difference. She gets inside. I never saw her longer than half a second. Every time I laid eyes on her, she retreated instantly, only to appear again an hour or two later, and an hour or two if I was lucky. Let me tell you about where I saw young Maddie. Every time I shut the door to my bathroom, in my hotel room, I saw her. If I watched as I shut it, at the last possible second, I'd see the crescent of her face moving fast at the gap. I'd throw the door open to find nothing. And every time I closed the closet door, I saw her. If I watched that gap, she'd suddenly be inside the closet, leaning her head to watch me just as it shut. It's as if she knew where to go, where to be, so that my eye would meet hers. But there was never an impact, never a moment when she'd make contact with the door or the wall. The first time I sat at that writing table, I saw her. As I closed the large bottom drawer, she rushed at the gap from inside the drawer, her eyes wide, pleading for something I couldn't give. I pulled the drawer from its rails and I threw it to the floor. I spent that last night in my car, but like I said, it did no good, tossing and turning on that rental car seat. The back ratcheted as flat as I could get it. I had to open my eyes sometimes, and if there was a place for her to dart from my view when I opened them, she did. In the side view mirror or peeking over the hood of my car, once upside down at the top of the windshield, as if she was on the roof. I'm back at St. Paul again. And I've been back for a year. But Maddie hasn't stopped. If I keep my eyes open long enough, if I watch a place long enough, I'll eventually catch sight of movement. Near the copier in my office, pile of boxes in the alleyway. Column in a dark, quiet parking lot. And my eyes will get there just in time to see her eye retreating from view. There was never anything there when I go to look. So I've stopped looking. And that's how I've had to change things since the Hotel Umbra. See, I've stopped looking. I keep my eyes shut when I close doors and when I shut drawers and cabinets, fridges, coolers, the trunk of my car. Not all spaces, just ones that are big enough. At least that's how it used to work. So I was getting ready for bed a few nights ago. I was standing in front of my bathroom mirror, door shut, cabinets shut, watching myself floss. I opened up wide to get my molars. And I swear, I swear, I saw fingertips retreat down the back of my throat. Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta. I wanted to say thank you for watching tonight's video or listening to tonight's podcast episode, and also wanted to let you know that if you're interested in getting some Dungeons & Dragons, Creepypasta, or many other things themed tea, you can always check out my wife's tea shop at etsy.com/shop/ivorymonocletea. And I want to give a very special thank you to all of you who support me on Patreon, because quite honestly, you guys help me keep the lights on in my house, and I can't thank you enough for that. A very special thank you to Jordan Alexander Sanchez, Ken and Lando Higuchi, Chompski, Bobby Karman, Nico Kaeo, Tristain Pelton, Chase Burnett, Deanna Kraus, G Weevil 3, Chris Lovin, Freddie Krueger, Dr. Stein and Mr. Happy, Miranda Jeffries, Higuchi, Justin Johnson, Raven Hart, Unknown Nobody, Michael Scharbrough, Kazan, ThisIsMyRealNameNoShit, Jason VB Wilson, InfernalOne, JimboTheHutt, Caspian, Jordan Nells, Hades' Nephew, Jordan Wayne Deckard, AcidSystem, Prozac and Pancake Appreciation Society, Cryptic Nightmares, Someone You Love, S-Man, Kiri the Sloth, Liam Newman, Sky Harbor, Caleb Dougal, Nina Smith, Raphael Rodriguez, The Ginger Bros, Aaron Stormcrow, Daniel Paulson, and Corey Kenshin. Thank you guys so much. Like, seriously, thank you guys so much. And if you would like to be able to join them, you always can at patreon.com/MrCreepyPasta. I love you guys, seriously. All of you who support on Patreon, who follow, who subscribe, those of you who listen, and those of you who lurk. Thank you for the amazing 10 years. And sweet dreams.